all the parents to understand and feel and, let other people help them and help each other, but mainly listen to their kids, listen to their adults, just because they can't communicate verbally, be open-minded about the typing. There's so many different ways you can, do this electronically. It's not just facilitated communication. They have, other forms too, but the telepathy, just so they can get everything out. And even if it's just, a session here and there with you or something, take that time to hear what's in it. What do the kids want, And then, if they can work together and figure out that body movement or whatever is needed, or maybe it's not. Maybe the world's to be telepathic, everybody at some point. That seems like that's where we've gone with 2020 and the shift and everything. So it's just learning, embracing, accepting.
Hello, Noah.
Hello.
Oh, let's turn that up louder. Or you can read it back.
Hello.
So, Noah, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right. Well, I guess I'll fill in a little bit, and Noah will let me know when he needs to type something. He's 23 and began typing to communicate when he was 18. Little sister started typing first, so that's Adriana. She started typing at 16, and it was probably a couple of months. When you say, Noah, a couple of months? Yes, a couple of months until Noah started using the facilitated communication, because he spoke in echolalia. So he was repeating TV stories, Veggie Tales, Blue's Clues, things like that. He was very animated. So he thought that was enough voice. He would relate to whatever's going on. He would just have these files of TV lines, storylines, song lines, and he would use them when appropriate, which was really cool. So he didn't want to lose that, is what he started saying at first. Noah was the first diagnosed as the middle one, which was kind of crazy because people always think it would be the oldest. Well, with Quinn having Asperger's, he was just quirky. He would line things up. He didn't have a lot of language at 18 months, and that's usually one of the keys for autism on, when the language starts. But he would say things like M&Ms, but by the time he was by the time he was 2, he was in sentences, and he said, "I made a mess with water." At 2 years old, it's like, oh, that's cool. Boom, there's language. But then, so he's 2.5 years older than Noah. When Noah came along, He wasn't hitting all the milestones that Quinn did, so we were a little concerned. But Quinn was early on a lot of things, walking at 9 months. Noah was walking closer to a year, I think. And then words didn't come out. He would start repeating, but he would act out everything, which was cool. He was very animated. He would demand the eye contact, which was another thing. He didn't actually get an autism diagnosis at first because he would take your face and he would just look at you. He didn't do that so much anymore, but he will a little bit, where Quinn doesn't have as much of the eye contact. So it's a little backwards from what you would think. But he would run. He escaped. Let's see, I'm gonna have to check in with Noah on this. Yep. Okay, so you would run and escape. Oh, he says I'm doing good. Okay, I'll keep going. He would like go outside and he would like circle the yard 3 times, and so do a lot of big repetitive things that you wouldn't really notice he was in a pattern. But so he was diagnosed after we had his tonsils and adenoids out. We thought, oh, he must not have been able to hear, because he wouldn't come to his name if you called his name, but he would hear his favorite video, he'd come running, that kind of thing. So we had tonsils and adenoids out. He was a tiny little guy, and right after the surgery, within 6 months, he grew like 6 inches and put on some weight. And then by that point, we'd already seen Adriana. All right. So, yeah, she was already doing her hand flapping, her thing. And so she was pretty obvious at a year. But at that time, they weren't diagnosing until kids were 18 months. Okay. So then it was boom, 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 because we looked at the criteria once we started looking at Adriana. Like, oh, look, there's this Asperger's syndrome. That's the rest of the family.
What was your fears when you heard this news?
Really about the communication. We didn't hear, at that time, we didn't hear anything about being severe. Now they have like levels and stuff. We're not even up on, what level 1, level 2, all that. We just knew they couldn't communicate, but they understood everything we were saying. You could see it in their face, they'd hear their videos. And then, like I said, he was so animated. We'd never seen a child that would act out all the VeggieTales. The coolest one he would do was Dave and the Giant Pickle, and he would be all the characters. So, it's a cucumber, and or Dave was asparagus? Yeah. Okay, so anyway, so he would be swinging it around because they don't have arms, and then he'd be the Giant Pickle, and he would fall to the ground, and it was just the coolest thing, Our life is so interesting, and it's just been learning one thing after another. And everyone would keep saying, oh, your life is going to get easier, even though when it seemed hard, it wasn't. I would end up watching. I stayed at home because we had the 3, especially when they were little, and I would invite other kids over, and everybody would be great. And once the other kids went home, then it's like, oh, it's just our kids again. It was just a different life. But it was fun, and they were fun, and they're just easily entertained. They were never bad kids. They never had the quote-unquote behaviors, that kind of thing. So we would try diets, and it's like other kids would do diets, and behaviors would change. Well, ours wouldn't, because they didn't have the behaviors. So it was a lot of guessing games, but then we would go and we would do different autism studies that would come up. The kids were high pain tolerant, so and very calm. So we would go to Riley Children's Hospital. They have an autism. They were doing autism research and things, so we would always do those kind of things, and they loved it. They like going to the dentist. What kid likes to go to the dentist? I mean, but it's just we would be around people that were just happy to see them and learn from them.
Okay.
Did I miss anything? Of course I did. Yes. Hang on. I love having this back and forth conversation. Yes. Yeah, so that was in 2016, and so 2020, he let us, I know you want to hit play. 2020, he started letting us know he could do this energy, and now 2021?
Yes, find my voice more now with Melissa.
Yes, so now he can find his voice more now with you. And so I found I am getting the Cliff Notes version.
So I'm just we work out a lot. We go to a gym as a family, the 4 of us instead of the 5, but the 4 of us get to go, and we try to get him to work out at a pace to work up his cardiovascular, and that doesn't quite happen because we're trying to get Noah to move because he's watching the spirits in the gym.
And he's healing everybody.
And he is. It was great because you could tell that he's working, and he's having a good time,
and the people love it because
so it's a little different. It's a little different, human pace versus Noah's pace.
Yes. All right. All right, Noah?
Working.
Yeah.
Or he's talking.
He's doing something right now. He's just.
Yeah, I think he's got a response. Let me show this picture again. I love showing when they first started because Noah is not the same as he was. Oops, it went away. There it is. This was Noah at 320 pounds. You can see him in there. I know if
He's in there somewhere.
Yeah, he's right here. Whoops. Well, if I would learn to use my computer. But yeah, so he's come a long way since then. Yeah.
He has learned to diet. That's the big thing.
Yeah, on his own. That's the thing. People
Yes.
ask what we did. We didn't do it.
Uh-uh.
He chose. Which also, it makes me wonder if that's when a lot of his abilities surfaced more, or it was just...
It started to come as he dieted.
Yeah, even though I think he's been doing it all along, because he chose to come here, and I understand that. But it was more noticeable when he wasn't eating sugar and bread and saying that he only wants the good foods and real foods and vegetables and meats.
Yeah, and that's something that a lot of people within the spiritual, autistic, bipolar, schizophrenic kind of spectrums do. Any of those spectrums that are really dealing with spirits, ghosts, guides, angels, whatever it is, even spirit animals, is that the more healthy, the more skinny you are. And you're not prepared. They come, the spirits and the animals and the ghosts and the angels and the demons, they all come at you, and you can see them at such force. And one of the things that really dumbs them down is carbohydrates, sugar, bad food. And I can tell you, I myself was a little thinner and gained more weight just to kind of dumb them down and shut them up. And now that Noah is a little bit more aware of who he is, what he is doing, and the people around him are coming together to help him and to get him everything that he needs, he doesn't need to harness that in all his self. So now he's a little bit more advanced. He knows how things are working. He knows how to work both realities in both worlds. And so now it's safe for him to be healthy, to be a little bit more connected to this earth and to be connected, to the universe all at the same time. And so eating healthy and getting the digestive system going, as well as, feeding the heart and the brain the right things, that does help us connect to this universe. And so sometimes weight gain is something that you'll see in autistic people, or like I said, spiritual, bipolar, schizophrenic, because that weight actually is almost a filter for some of those spirits and guides.
Yeah, that makes sense, because he was thin and then he gained a lot of weight and then he's lost the weight. And when he wrote the chapter in the book, he mentioned how when he was thin and he was going back and he was pacing back and forth, that's when he was thin, and that's when he was trying to run from the voices in his head. And we didn't know, because that was before he could communicate with us. So that was interesting.
What are your hopes for this documentary?
Very much to feel the energy from all who are watching.
Who is Noah? Oh, I'm not cheating for you. You got to tell them
Oh,
yourself.
man.
Oh, I'm
Like,
going
you
to
gotta
totally say Noah. Don't worry. I'm going to have you tell them, and I'm going to come in and.
Can you read that out loud?
Noah is awesome.
I don't know if you heard that. I'll let him play.
Noah is awesome.
Noah is awesome. That's also his email. He set it up a few years ago. That's his story. He's sticking with it. That's going to be the booth title at our next event. Yes. Sums it up.
I love it.
He's got something else here. It's hard to talk about yourself, isn't it? It is.
Very dear person and friend, really caring.
Yeah.
Hello, world. I am Noah. I am here as your helper, teacher, guide, friend, soul brother. I come to you in peace with a gift. And if you are ready to receive it, you will feel it. You will feel me. You may even see me or dream about me. This gift that I have to offer you is straight from my heart. It is the gift of love. And I offer you this through telepathy, the language that we all started out with, the language that speaks from the heart, keeps you safe, and is protected from all of the bad energy in the world. You see, when people started to speak, it interrupted the tones and the frequencies that they were trying to send out. Because the human body does not regularly understand the voice, but it does understand the energy. And so I am here to teach you telepathy. I am here to show you that there is a way, and the possibilities of peace and hope can be restored if you really listen and take in the energy I'm about to give you. For I am a server, a watcher, and a protector of God and the people. And it is my duty to find the bad energy of the world, to go after it, seek it out, and I do this interdimensionally. It does not make me ignorant in this world. In fact, I am not that. I am a genius, highly intelligent. The things I see, feel, experience, others cannot comprehend. When I see a disruption in the energy, I must leave this human body and seek the source out, find it, change it, put it somewhere else, or give it a new perspective. This world was meant for greatness. It is the bad thoughts, bad attitudes, bad actions that continuously infiltrate this world. And I am here to find that energy and to get it out. But I cannot do it alone. And the more of us that understand this, the more of us that can speak this, the more of us that can feel or tap in to the energy, the greater chances we have at harmonizing this world and the energy within it. I have dedicated my life to harmonizing the energy. I have dedicated my life to being able to speak to your human self in ways that the spirit would understand. I am Noah, a healer, confidant, friend, teacher, lover of God, a galactic being who serves for the greater good of consciousness as a whole. I am here to change the mind of the scientists, doctors, family, friends, skeptics. I will do whatever it takes, because I know this is the way. I know that if everybody tapped into this ability, that the whole world would see absolute truth in ways that is serving all of us. We all have our own abilities. We all have our own skills. And I would like to remind you of that. All right, I lost you, Noah. Sorry. Don't know what happened. Do you have more to say, or were you done?
You got a thumbs up. Is that good or more? Good? More. Oh, there's more. There's more. A little bit. Yeah. Looks a lot different. He says, very cool. Always love to hear my words come out of you. Beautiful soul sister.
Hi, I'm Melissa, the voice behind the computer. Noah and I wanted to take some time to explain to you why this docu-series is so important and why we feel that this is the future and one of the greatest ways to find peace and harmony and balance within this earth. Let's face it, our world's in turmoil. We have misused, we've abused our verbal and our written language. We've changed words, we've omitted words. We have language barriers. We have problems from culture to culture where we have different ear designs, and some of the cultures can't even pick up the vocabulary of other languages. Not to mention misspelled words, punctuation issues, not being able to express emotions behind our texts or our written language, dyslexia, people that can't read. What about the people that can't hear and the people that can't speak? Does that mean that they don't have a voice? No, it probably means that they've been screaming louder than ever, and we haven't given them the opportunity or the time to feel what they have to say. Now, the neat thing about telepathy is it jumps through all of that hurdles, and it brings us to a place where our spirit, our mind, and our heart come to a place where they sync up, and they are on the same channel, on the same wave. They understand the emotion, thoughts, message clearly behind what is being said. With telepathy, it takes out all of that guesswork. It takes out all of those conspiracy theories. It takes out the research of what happened in history. It takes out all of that surface talk and all of that babble that we don't need to speak. It gets straight to the point so that both parties understand exactly what the other person is speaking about. It is a great tool to use because when we speak through telepathy, we speak through a place of empathy, of love. There is no room for judging. There is no room for anger or for sadness to enter in. Now, we can understand when another person is feeling that. And because of that, we will intuitively want to help them out, and they won't feel so lonely in their emotions. Humanity's first design, first language was telepathy, and it's not only humanity's language, it is the language of the universe, of the gods, of the angels, the spirit guides, our ancestors who even brought us here to this film, to nature, to the animals, really anything that has ever had an energetic body has a channel somewhere that you can speak through the collective consciousness. And through the collective consciousness, we can find out history, we can find out facts, we can find out the past, the present, and even things about the future. We understand and we instinctively know who we are speaking to. And we know the greatest version of them that they can be, and we want to support that and help that. Because when we're speaking telepathy, we're speaking through a divine connection. Now, this isn't the same thing as mind reading, and we'll talk about that later. Mind reading is a little bit more invasive, and you share experiences and memories. That's not telepathy. Telepathy explains through a frequency and an emotional bond that happens through people, and it is a mutual compromise and communication where both people feel comfortable in the things that they are speaking about and the things that they are sharing. And they know that the other person isn't going to dig any deeper than what they want to share. If we can teach the world, if we can have the world remember this type of language, then all humanity would feel connected, would feel loved, would feel heard, and all of that bad energy would just go away. Because all that bad energy and all that negative feelings or the heavy feelings that people feel, that's all miscommunication. And Noah and I strongly believe that our ancestors brought us here to make this documentary. And through our earth angels, we were called to do this video. And when Carol and Amy called us up and they said, hey, our ancestors told us to call you, we need to do something together. We knew and we heard their cries, their screams, their love, their joy for humanity. And the one thing that they pointed out was it was the things that they misspoke, the things that they misheard, or the things that they didn't say that caused the greatest problems within our world. And we want to stop that. We want to bring us back to that place of balance and love so we can see the greater good in all of humanity. And that's the point of this docu-series. We will be showing in multiple ways, such as science, religion, spirituality, and humanity, how this works. So thank you for being here with us, and thank you for being on this journey. Now, how many people do you speak telepathy with? How many, Noah? Can you type it out?
Oh.
Or tell us?
Type it out? How many? Or do you even know? 100. Is that right?
No, let him finish.
Okay, sorry. Okay. All right. Well, you know what? Hold on. That was a lot of numbers. So let me. This is.
It was 10,100.
10,100. I don't know. And so this is the glitch that I have. It's like I got to be confident on these numbers. So I'll go here.
How many?
Well, now he just did an emoji smile face. Let's see if I can get. It's like. On the right end.
Yeah.
Okay, I had it. Yeah, there it is.
That means everyone.
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
Well, and that's this is something that I wanted people to know. When we first saw you on the Zoom, I think you're the one that asked Noah, "Are you telepathic with anyone other than your mom?" And his answer was, "Mom's not telepathic." So he can read everybody's mind, but it's the ones that can read him back. And very few people that we've met have been able to, I mean, you're the one that's been able to read the most. You're the biggest connection, at least that we know of. Is she for you? Is that the biggest? Yes.
Absolutely.
Got a thumbs up. Other people just get bits and pieces, or the astro travel. Some people have seen him. I'm starting to feel, he was excited today because on my trip today, he's like, I'm glad you felt me, Mom, because other people noticed it before I did. And it's like, I'm just happy other people, or know. I was telling this, it was a 19-year-old girl, and she could sense it, and she didn't think she had any abilities, but she said when you walked in the room, we could sense it. And it's like, I hadn't said anything. But he comes along with me when I'm going places. But usually he'll come through Adriana, so be me by myself and him coming, which he did say, on Monday's video, that he is me, I am him, and it's like, okay, well, I felt that today, which was really cool.
Yeah.
So I want to learn more about that, and I know other parents do too, because I know this is something that we can all do, or we all had this ability, and then somehow it got repressed. So just learning about the ancestors and everything, it's just remembering how to do this, so it's not so woo-woo-y and strange. And
Yes, exactly. And that's what we want to explain to people. So let's talk about that first meeting. So we were on the Zoom meeting, and we were talking about the ancestors within the book that both Noah and I are collaborating in, and you as well. Really, you're
people
definitely
keep saying that. It's like, I'm just on for the ride.
yeah, yeah.
All
Well,
we
that's
did-
okay. You're
all
still
we
on
did
it.
is edit what he wrote to make sure
Yeah, what we edited, we looked
Grammatically was
over it a couple of
correct.
times, and it's
we did
like,
not change any context whatsoever.
Yep. Yep.
okay.
So I hear in my head, "Hi, Melissa," and I just said, "Hi, Noah," and it was just so automatic. I knew exactly who was saying it. My spirit knew. And so we were going back and forth. "Hi, Melissa. Hi, Noah." And then I remember asking, "Is this real? Are you in my head? You can speak this?" And Noah just saying, "Yeah, you can hear me." And so
I'm just
after
seeing smiley faces, it's like,
right. So we're just kind of in shock and just hi, 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 and nothing really big, because both of us are also trying to pay attention to what everyone else was saying. So after the Zoom meeting happens, and everyone's clear, and I stand on, and Noah's standing on, and there's about 4 or 5 of us on there now, and I had to ask him, through computer, "Noah, do you speak telepathy?" And and that's when he said, "I do," and that you did not, and so we had a meeting, where we planned to have a meeting, and I had to wait, because the thing with telepathy and also autism, so both of those you need a time and a place for, but to get both of that together, where he's not working universally and he has time to come into the human world and talk, telepathy. And then there's a window for me also that's okay, here's my time and my place. So, we couldn't speak at that day. And and then we did have our conversation. And I remember that first conversation, Noah spoke more fluently than anybody else I have ever spoken with. So I, like Noah, have had people that have gotten bits and pieces here and there, or some of the information was jumbled. But I noticed immediately that Noah was not wrong in anything that he said, and that he knew exactly how to speak telepathy. He knew exactly the right energy, the right words, the right feelings to put out into the universe so that they can understand. Now, I also want to talk about, he's yawning a lot, and it's also because you guys will see at home, and you'll see when we replay this video, I've been watching these spirits come all around him, and you can actually see faces in the background that kind of come up and whatnot. So he's got a lot of other activity that he is trying to feed in and out. And a lot of time when we're doing energy work, we need to yawn to change that energy and to get back into both places. So he's going to be doing that a lot, because right now he's being called to the other side, and we're really holding him here. So let's be honest in that and what's happening. Yeah, so anyways, Noah spoke so beautifully, and the way that he speaks is from the pureness of his heart and from a place that is really wanting to help everyone for the better serving of the world. And that's why he speaks it so nicely. He doesn't have anything to hide. He puts everything aside just to say, hey, this is what it is. Can you hear and understand from a place of empathy? And so he speaks so nicely, and he speaks so fluently because he is with the source there too. And as we were talking and as we were seeing things, Mom kept noticing, hey, this is what this psychic said. This is the exact thing that the psychic drew that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So tell me what, first of all, you thought, Noah. What did you think in all of this when it was being said and done, and you finally got that experience to, I mean, you really channel through me, and your voice comes through my voice to speak for the rest of the world. So what did you think about that experience? Can you tell us in your, and I know you want to say it telepathically. All I hear is amazing. I mean, there's so much more than that,
exactly,
but.
Amazing.
Amazing. Yeah. Oh, say that loud.
Amazing.
Amazing. Yeah.
And then, Sharon, what did you think about this whole thing?
Oh, yeah, I would go with that same word. I would say amazing. Oh, in my head, what am I saying in my head? Am I saying the same thing? Yeah.
I said crazy. Mom thought it was crazy.
All I know, I get the Cliff Note version. It's like, which is more than most parents get, for this. And it's like, that was huge. Now this is something else I have. I just feel like I'm playing catch up to my, look at that smug look. It's like, I got to catch up, because I love the look when he's like, Mom, I've tried to talk to you every day. And I'm like trying to meditate, because it's like, okay, I think too much into it. Stop thinking. How do you stop thinking after all these years and just let things happen and trust that the mom's intuition, the women's intuition, it's like that we all talk about, well, it's here now and it's real. So it's just catch up and understand.
After the first meeting that we had, I remember looking at your face, and you were just looking at him and looking at me and looking at him and looking at me, and you were noticing the difference. And I remember you saying, I've never watched him actually have a conversation with someone.
Yeah.
And then you said the great words that led us here.
Let's make a movie. People have to see this. That's the thing. Yes. You can see it on his face. And then I love, even just with us, that's how his chapter in the book is, where we start out just having this conversation, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is how the book's going to be. I had no idea. It's like, oh my gosh, he's having a conversation with me. We're writing a book.
And Dad, what did you feel watching all of this? We kind of came at you and blindsided you.
No, you didn't, because I knew it was coming. I love it. I think it's great. I know what he goes through and what you told us that you go through, so I'm like, I don't really want to go there. because I want to sleep at night, which I don't right now. So
Me
maybe
too.
I'm going there and don't know it.
Oh yeah, because he told me one night that I don't think I've talked in my sleep in years, but I know as a child I did, and he said he heard something.
Oh yeah, it was big.
That sounded like light language, and I've been told, like Kathleen, because Adriana responds to, she responds to that so well, that they won't know when it's coming out. So I may be doing it in my sleep because I know I'll get to that dream state and I'll see things, but then I get out of it. So that's where I need the lessons, and where we hope later we'll do lessons with other parents or have Noah help teach. How do we stay there? How do we get to that vibrational level? And
Noah wants to use telepathy all the time because so few people can do what Mom does, but even fewer people speak telepathically.
Noah wants to use telepathy all the time because so few people can do what Mom does, but even fewer people speak telepathically. What I'm doing, it's simple and complicated at the same time, because there's definitely a feel for it. Noah, if Noah would type this on his own, usually his body will turn off the computer, or it's like a fight within his body. And that's the part that we're still trying to learn. I've tried to teach some people how to do facilitated communication. There's actually, I don't know if you can zoom in on that, there's actually, Rosemary Crosley is the person, she's the woman out of Australia who came up with this, I believe it was in 1977. We met her back in 2016, and she's the one that got Noah started. Adriana started just a little bit before we met her. So my training is under her and a few other master trainers. Ideally, they want to have best practice, least resistance, So some people, you'll just have the muscle movement here, and you can see his hand moving up there. Trying to figure out how to get a good example of this, because his body will type, but it won't type the thoughts. Focused? Well, it won't type his thoughts.
Yeah.
So he'll always reach, and I'm not pushing him into it. I'm actually pulling him back. But sometimes you'll see this other hand come up, which, oh, go ahead. Beach. You spelled beach. So is that autism doing that? That was autism. Okay. But you didn't need my hand. So give me an example of what Noah would type. So what it looks like. So like Adriana is going to be, she's very prompt dependent. Usually he'll do something. Like he'll get on the internet and look up his stuff, but we're just kind of, Mom. Yeah, I want you to too. Because it's very difficult to explain. See if...
Mom, I very much want to explain telepathic.
Okay, yeah, see if you can see how he would explain it.
So as far as how you're communicating with your mother, Noah? Okay. So I'm going to do it a little third person-ish to... Well, no, I'm going to do it from Noah.
Yeah. Do I flip it back around, or are you good walking around for now? Okay.
Yep, yeah, you can give it to him or whatever you guys want to do.
Or we can. Do a little bit more and show this. Or we could do a visual here, but they can see here. Try that. There he is. This shows. Yeah, this shows better. This is always a better visual.
Okay.
Can I do less resistance? Because I like to do like this. See, he always crawls down to my hand. Did you get that? OMG. Sorry. Mom.
Sorry, I'll disconnect here. I was trying to listen in.
Wow. This is not helpful. OMG, Mom, this is difficult to explain. Yeah.
I know. I'm trying to understand. Okay. So no, just stay with me. Actually, if you can put it to his face, then I can, or there. Okay. As long as I can see his eyes at first.
There.
Okay, then I can know what frequency he's at. All right, Noah, I'm coming in here. Okay. So it is very hard to explain how I do this. I have to change my train of thought. I have to slow it down. And it's almost like I allow the energy that is running through my body most of the time to stop, and I have to contain it in my body. And then I have to focus on where that energy can go. I don't need to look at the letters. I just need to know where the pattern is. And when I know the pattern, it's like a series of dots in my head that I am speaking on. And that's the only way I can explain it, because I work that way in telepathy, and I work that way with my coding. Lines and dots to what needs to be said to the frequency that it needs to be said in. When I hold my mother's hand, my mom's hand, I hold it sometimes with tension or lightness, or my fingers are pointed in a different way or a different direction. And that allows me to tell her how I am feeling and what tone I am speaking in.
That makes sense.
So she knows the direction that I am going to go in next, because I always know what I am going to say before I say it. And so I can send her signals to help her go with me to the letters and words. Because my mind works so quickly, most times I really have to stop thinking and start pattern sorting. So my words come out the way in a way my energy is focused on those specific words, because in the back of my head I have a lot of energy coming through. So I have to stop and think about the words that are important to convey my message, the least amount of words with the most amount of impact, along with energy sensors to my mother via her neurotransmitters or her nervous system in her hands. The hands have very many places in the body that it attaches to. So as I put pressure on her hand or angle my hand in different ways, it helps both of us guide into the rhythmic pattern, and it allows her to understand the tone I am speaking in. An angry tone versus a sad tone comes the same way out on a tablet, computer, or sensory board, communication board.
Yeah.
Even in words that I write. And so, I lost you, Noah. Sorry.
That's a lot.
Sorry, Noah. I lost it right there. And I know you were talking. Okay, thank you. The words on a computer or a tablet or any technology all come out the same tone.
Yeah.
No matter where you play it, you can change the voice on the computer or the tablet, but it will all say the same tone. Sending the information to my mom through electromagnetic energy and feelings attached to that energy allows her to speak the tone that I am feeling in, such as happy or sad or excited, so that my tone comes out differently through the way she speaks. Okay.
Yeah.
How's that, Noah?
Oh my gosh. Give her a thumbs up if you got a thumbs up. Yeah. Got thumbs up.
Well, let's see the thumbs up. How's that, Noah? We got to show the people.
Did you get it?
No.
You got to get it up high.
Anything you want to add to that, Noah? Was that a yes? Or that was good?
That was a thumbs up.
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell them?
Oh, you want to type? He's like, no, I don't want to type. I want to do. But oh my gosh, that was a great explanation because they're all not like Noah. He's different from everybody else, and that's where it was hard for me to understand because normally they don't want you to type like this. And Adriana, I'm not at the hand typically. Well, when we get lazy, yeah, sometimes we are. Yes, I get the hint.
Really find this easy with mom, but hope she can sense more soon.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely knew I could feel things, and people said about the neurotransmitters in the hand, and yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah. Yes.
And how do I know? That's the problem. I can't go through and explain all of that. I go back. Sorry. What? XOXO. Hugs and kisses. Do you do hugs and hugs and kisses?
Although I speak telepathy, I am a realist, so I'm always looking for a deeper meaning or facts or proof behind the work that I do. And what was really interesting while I was looking at this editing portion is the voice signatures that are here. As you can see, they're very inconsistent. There is a lot of variation, a lot of flaws. The pattern is not rhythmic. There are different wavelengths here, such as the high wavelengths and the low wavelengths that are occurring so that people can get their message out. As we know, people do change their tone to match their audience. However, telepathy was very different. It was concise. It was a very good rhythm, very monotone. We don't see as much variation because it is very focused on getting its energy and its message out. But let's take a look behind the scenes and see what that looks like.
No one wants to use telepathy all the time because so few people can do what mom does, but even
So that was his tablet, and now we're going to hear his mom.
Noah wants to use telepathy all the time because so few people can do what Mom does.
We work out a lot. We go to a gym as a family, the four of us instead of the five. But the four of us get to go. And
all of the variations of the high pitches and the low pitches, the long wavelength. Now that we've taken a look at the voice bands or the voice frequencies for our audible voices, such as Sharon, Noah's tablet, Joe, and myself, while you're looking at that, I want you to see the distraction and the different variations, different pitches that are happening. And as we come into this telepathy, you can see that it's more defined, more controlled, and it is not as messy or as noisy as it is when we are speaking. The closer and closer that Noah and I get, and the longer that we hold this telepathic communication, then it starts to become more focused and a little bit more controlled. The fluctuation between the frequencies are not as much. And although the voice doesn't change, the tones and the pitches coming out of that does, because we don't need to have that fluctuation for people to understand what we are saying. I know, I'm trying to understand. Okay, so Noah, just stay with me. Actually, if you can put it to his face, then I can, or there. Okay, as long as I can see his eyes at first. Okay, then I can know what frequency he's at. All right, Noah, I'm coming in here. So it is very hard to explain how I do this. I have to change my train of thought. I have to slow it down. And it's almost like I allow the energy that is running through my body most of the time to stop, and I have to contain it in my body. Now, another interesting thing is I end up dropping him at some point, and I lose the connection. And when this ends up happening, we see another spike in the energy. And once that spike happens, as we're going through here, there's that spike. That's when I lost him through the telepathy. So here I start speaking again.
That's a lot.
Sorry, Noah. I lost it right there, and I know you were talking. Okay, thank you. So right there, he caught me. I lost him around this area here, and there was a break in the frequency, and then he picked me right back up. And even though we were speaking on this tone before, because I got excited, he brings me back, and he switched up the channels. So here we're speaking on a different level here, a little bit more excited with more high and low pitches that you didn't see in the other channel that we were speaking on. But once we pulled over to this channel here, you can see how the frequency and how the tone actually changed from the previous clip there. So here we go. The words on a computer or a tablet or any technology all come out the same tone. No matter where you play it, you can change the voice on the computer or the tablet, but it will all say the same tone. Something that I found very frustrating, enlightening, and intriguing at the same time was when Noah and I would remotely come together to do the editing on this documentary. We would be on the telepathic communication level, and whenever I would have him tap into me or the computer would completely glitch. As you can see here, all this hot pink stuff that's there is supposed to be the lettering and all the fonts, the messages. The images are skewed by these orange lines and the kind of grayish blue black lines. And then we also have the green lines, which are, of course, the audio. As I went further into it and the deeper conversation that we would get into, Noah kept saying, Melissa, pay attention to the energy. Pay attention to the energy. And I was paying attention to the videos and the audios and what I could see in my human mind. So it got to the point where he just took all of that out and started just showing me the different pixels, the different lines of light and shadows and imagery and how they were moving. And it was at that very moment that I then realized that I had to really actually start paying attention to the coding and the energy that was going on behind the scenes. Because every time I lost faith or I would lose myself in the telepathic channel, Noah would actually make it a lot harder for me. And as you can see here, when I'm discarding it, I go to pull up the file again, and there's still a greater lesson for me to learn here as Noah takes the images away completely on the video and then starts to show me here, Melissa, this is the way that we speak. This is the coding that we talk through. The lights, the colors, the spectrums, the shadows, the rhythm, the beat. And this is what I want you to pay attention to. So that is when I actually started paying attention to the lines, the shadows, and the voice signatures, the patterns of the voice signatures, as well as all of these different colors and variations. And I started piecing it all together based on the different signatures that the light or the frequencies of the voice were holding. And that made for a very interesting process. Here we're looking at the patterns of light, the way that they move, the patterns of the shadow, and all of the fractals and coding that's in between that. So in this image, we are seeing a lot of inconsistency, the patterns not matching, the green dots aren't matching, they're not in the same lines. The yellow and the pink on the outside is consistent. However, the pink lines, the skinnier ones that are in the middle, they are fluctuating, and so that shows me that that is not a match for the energy. However, we flip over to this next box here, and you can tell that the green markers in the middle, they are all lined up, that the pink lines that are coming through, the lighter pink lines were a little bit more consistent, and they all had that same pattern. Looking at the voice patterns here, you can see that this was consistent, and so we did go ahead. That was a energetic match. We kept that and dropped a lot of that rest of the stuff. In this pink, we can see that the last and the first boxes don't match the middle four. So what I would do in that was cut the first and the last box and leave the 4 boxes that are actually consistent with energy, leave them in the video. And then as we move over to this orange, here we have the red line kind of going down the middle, and then on the left side is a lighter color, on the right side is a darker color. This is an energetic match. This is what it looks like when we were done with the editing. No images, no words, really nothing. And so I just had to trust the process. Noah said, hit save, Melissa. So in blind faith, I did, prayed for the best, went over after trying to save it and uploaded the video, and bam, now we have the images. This is what it's supposed to look like. And then started playing the video, understood why some of those words had to be taken out. Now, once again, I just want to point out, we are only editing the small talk behind us and some of the words that don't need to be said, that aren't pertinent. At no point during the entire series will we ever edit any of the telepathic communication, as it needs to be said exactly how it is. All of the actions that Noah does is encrypted with his energetic signature behind it. When we are speaking with him, when we are in his presence, when he is doing any of his work that he needs to do, whether in this realm or in other realms, the coding behind his words, his actions, and his energy is very different from normal humanity's coding. And that's because they see things, they experience things in many different ways than what we would. While he is speaking, his algorithms are different from the algorithms of the computer. And while he says certain words, the computer doesn't even register that he is saying these words. Let me show you an example. That might have been a little bit too fast for you to see at home, so we're going to slow this down a little bit. And what I want you to see is he starts speaking before any of the frequencies were registered on the computer. And actually that last blip there was background noise and not even him talking. So as you can see, even though he has a deep, very predominant voice, it is not being registered with a computer. Let's see what Sharon's voice does here. Obviously, that was not the best answer, so I do want to show you one more clip here. Now, here is the video clip of Noah saying Noah is awesome. And we're going to look at the voice signature here. And I really have to stretch this out and pull this out so you can even see any of the blips that are showing up when he talks, because he is speaking under the radar. He is not talking in the same voice that his mother or anyone around him is speaking in. The voice is loud. You can obviously hear it. We are obviously picking it up on our side. We're understanding it, but the computer is not. You can see Sharon speaking beforehand, and then when it flips over to Noah, it is the tiniest little wave that you'll see. And just listen here.
Can you read that out loud?
Noah is awesome.
What you just witnessed was, while Sharon was speaking, the audio clips caught her voice. However, when Noah is talking, his full sentence, the computer does not register that at all. Let's play that again.
Noah is awesome.
This just goes to show how energetically Noah is speaking different than other people. Sharon, do you have anything that you want to say about Noah or Adriana?
They are so excited for people to understand them, to communicate with them, have the friends. And then now that school is done for them, she's 21, he's 23, they're ready to travel and meet people as soon as we can, as soon as it's safe with, the pandemic and everything. And and we're excited. Just keep them busy and collaborate with new friends, old friends, and say hi.
Hi, Adriana. I love her. So here we are making a documentary for the world, and hopes that everyone gets to see that these people who are nonverbal people, whatever their reasoning for their, not having a verbal language, they have the ability to speak in many different ways, and that we really do all have the ability, if we just take the time, we learn, and we put away our human side, to be able to speak to them. And hopefully, that's what we're going to show with this documentary, as long as we want to touch down on just different behaviors that they have too, and we're going to dig into that, and the reasoning that we can speak telepathy, how we speak telepathy, and really communicate, we want to give autism a voice, and
Yes.
as a whole, not just one person at a time, but let's give them all a voice. And through Noah, we really have that ability and that convenience, really, to be able to speak to him in ways that we can allow the world to understand, what is being said, what is not being done, and why it's being done. And so we're really hoping that we reach enough of you out there, and that you guys take all of this information and you spread it throughout the world, because that's what's going to give Noah a voice. That's what's going to give Adriana a voice. That's what's going to give all of them a voice, is by sharing this and making all of this aware to everyone out there, in hopes that we can also learn a better way to communicate, to speak. And if we could all tap into this, if we could all do this and all to speak through that telepathy, all of that dirty language would be lost. All of the bully language and all of the swear words and sometimes swear words. Sorry, no. Sometimes they slip in there, but really, it's a language of the heart. It's a language from love. And if we could just come to that place of empathy with everyone, that alone would solve all of the world's problems. The silence is so loud when we feel what the silence is. And that's really what we're hoping to get to all of you out there. And as you watch this documentary, as you see how everything's being played out, pay attention to the background, pay attention to Noah's eyes, to his face, to what's going on, because there are messages being sent out. There are signals being sent out. You can see in the background, you can see in the camera how he's glitching the camera, how his movements are really changing. You can see almost faces come up behind him in some of the scenes that you're going to watch. We're doing this all unedited. And the reason that we're doing this unedited, besides the interviews, is so that you can actually feel the energy, you can see it, you can sense it, and you know with your heart that it's true. And a lot of the things that are going to be sent out, either by Noah or Adriana or myself or the guides or Kathleen, all of that energy needs to be felt in sequence. And one of the things that is the downfall about a lot of these documentaries that are being sent out is they're being edited, and so some of the words are being missed, some of the feelings are being missed, and they're not going to be missed with us. You guys will hear us, you will see us, you will feel us. We're going to be there, and we're going to be things that are going to be that faith and that hope in your heart, that this world has an awesome, better way to communicate and to speak. And there's no mumble jumble. There's no mess. There's no words that don't need to be said that are slipped in. It's straight, it's honest, and it's true and to the point. And that's what we hope you guys get from Noah.
Exactly.
And everyone, all of us. All of us around. So, Joe, what do you hope to get from this documentary?
I'm not looking for anything. I'm hoping that Noah gets recognition for his abilities, because I believe in his abilities, and they're everybody that comes in contact with him says how powerful he is, and I believe that.
Awesome.
Pretty much everything is connected to SharonsWeb.com. I've just left it simple like that, and there's clickable links to Noah. He has his own Facebook and Instagram. Of course, we're not always on there because we have to get on there together, or if he's working, we don't get on there, but he does check, and he loves to do messages. So, and he loves to send texts. So yeah, people can ask him questions anywhere.
Okay.
So,
All right. Well, thanks, guys, for listening.
and thank you, Melissa. This is
Yeah.
awesome. Okay, he's got something good coming in. You're gonna love this. Okay, you ready?
Good to know the world is watching.
And the smiles on with it.
They are watching. If you would like to dive deeper into the telepathic relationship between you and your ancestors, as well as searching into the DNA and the history behind you and your family, we would like to invite you to the first collaboration that Noah and I did together, The Ancestors Within, the reason why we are even here today. Noah, I, and 23 other amazing authors have put their soul and their spirits into this book. We all have different perspectives, experiences, and stories to help you dive deeper into that connection, understanding, and knowing of who you are. It is currently available for purchase on Amazon.com, SharonsWeb.com, or EuphoricSource.com. Please stay tuned for next week's episode, where we dive deeper into telepathy and the scientific explanation behind it, as well as the behavioral patterns and why autism reacts the way that it does. This video is for educational purposes only, and we are asking not for your donations or your money, but we are asking if you believe in our message, if you believe in what we are doing, please click the like and share button, because it's only through people like you that we can actually share this information. And the more people that we get it out to, the more this universe can understand a new way of communication, a new way of thinking, a new way of connections. Once again, we thank you for your support. Please write in any questions or comments that you have, and we can put these in further docu-series episodes that we are doing. We are here to educate. We are here to listen and we are here to connect.